This video was published by MBKP International, LLC. In this video I'm going to show you how to change the blade, the cut pad, and adjust the blade on the Perfect G17 Pro and the Perfect G12 Pro. Now for this video I'll just do this demonstration on the G17 Pro, but the process would be identical on the G12 Pro. I'll just keep this to the side for now. Okay. First thing you want to do, I'll show you, is to adjust the angle of the blade. And you have your tools that come with this. This here is the hex wrench that comes with it, and it's used to loosen this nut here, or bolt actually. And when you do that, you can take this knob here and you can turn it either clockwise or counterclockwise to adjust the angle of this blade. I'm going to tell you what I mean here. Now this blade is designed, you can see it going up and down there. It's designed to, on this end here, it's designed to hit the cut pad first on this end before it hits it on the other end. Now, maybe if I move that up, you'll be able to see it a little better. Okay, now when you watch this, if you just bring this down very slowly and watch it very close, and the second it touches that cut pad on that end down there, a little more, right about there, so just now touched it. You come down to the other end, you see, and it should be about anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch up. Usually somewhere in between that, but probably closer to 1/8. You can do 1/8 strong sometimes. 1/4 would probably be too much, but just a little under 1/4 might not be too bad. But anywhere in that range, anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch, you want this away from touching the cut pad, as you can see there. Why that one just first touches it. That's the idea angle of the blade, and then as you continue to pull, this will slide back in there and finish off the cutting of the paper. It'll go into the cut pad all the way there. Now when you get your paper cutter later on down the line, or for some reason if somebody messes with this or messes with this adjustment knob and gets this out of a line, this is so you can do it yourself. Okay, now basically what you would do is you would take this wrench, get in here, and you'd push down on it here and loosen that bolt there. And from there you can grab this knob and rotate it, and you can see this blade. You kind of got to have this blade up when you do the rotation. And you can see it will kind of rotate when I rotate this knob here. See the angle of the blade changing when I'm messing with it? Okay. So you can see that there easily. And basically, you want to find the right angle. Again, you want to come down and touch it. I kind of put it back to the same spot about almost to see. Touched. See there, it's about, I think it's a little bit higher here. Last time it'd probably still work there, but I'll put it back to exactly the way it was. That's a little too much. And that's about what it was before, where it's just touching there, and it's just about 1/8 of an inch, a hair over 1/8 of an inch up on that end. When it's touched on this end, the second it touches there, it's about 1/8 or a hair over 1/8 on that end. Once you get to that, then you just tighten this bolt back down in here with this wrench. Make sure you snug it good. And then you can retest it again, make sure everything stayed in place, and it appears it has. And that's basically it on adjusting the blade if you ever need it to do so. Okay, and that way you know the angle, what the blade's supposed to be at when it comes in, how it's supposed to hit the pad at what, and what end's supposed to hit the pad first, and how much this is supposed to be up when it does hit the pad on that end. Okay. The other thing I want to show you is changing the blade in the cut pad. Basically want to remove this to get it out of the way. We'll do the cut pad first because it's the easiest. Okay, and this tool here can be used for changing the cut pad and the blade. It is a good idea to use this blade cover when you're changing the pad. If you notice, this blade cover will have an arrow on it. And so you want that end up, just like so. With it pointing up like that. And this lip here is going to go under the blade. You're going to put it under, if my hand was a blade, you'd kind of put it like that, and then you'd lock it into place. And it basically covers the blade so you don't cut yourself changing this. So basically what you want to do is you want to slide it down through here. Okay. And then you can look with this blade, obviously you got to have your handle all the way up, okay? Have it pushed all the way up in the locked position. And then you can just kind of put this under it all the way, like so. You can see it with it, and once you get it under it, you can feel it locked in place like that. And then you can look under it if you want. Make sure that blade's nowhere to be found. Real carefully with your finger as you're looking at it. You know, you don't want to touch the blade. You just want to be able to see that it's completely covering the blade. When it's covering the blade, it's going to be in here nice and snug. It's not going to want to move too much. Okay, just look at it carefully and make sure it's covering the blade good, because when you change this pad, your fingers can hit up there and you can cut the top of your fingers if you're not careful. Okay, now with this tool, this in here, with it hooked down, you're going to push into this hole. And it's going to pop one end of that pad up. And you can do the same thing at the other side, and it'll pop it up completely. And then from there you can take the pad out. As you can see, it was cutting on this side. And these pads have 4 sides, so you can just rotate it and then put it back in to a new side. The only time you need to change the pad typically is when you change the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the way it was. And again, it's a very simple process. You just push down on it now. Make sure both sides are completely pushed down. You don't need the tool to put it back in. But that's putting the pad in. Very simple to do, changing the pad. Okay, now for changing the blade, we can go ahead and take this cover off now since the pad's been changed. I'm going to put it to the side. Okay, for changing the blade, you'll see that you'll have these screws here, and you're going to be removing all these screws. And there is a spot to attach this to. So what I like to do is, it comes with this screwdriver. What I like to do is leave the center screw for last, and I'll take these 2 out next to it. I'll get that later. I need it for this here. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to use these screws to attach this blade, and you're just going to put them in those 2 screw holes there on each side of the center screw. That's one. Line up the other one. Careful there. And get the other one snugged in. You just snug them down. That's about all you need to do. And once that's snugged down, then from there, you just got to start removing all the other screws. Again, I like to leave the center screw for last. It seems to work best. And I'm doing this process with the blade all the way up in the locked position. And right now while I'm doing this, I have the clamp down. It's going to change here in a little bit, I think. And you have to get the end screw on the other end. Okay, there is one final screw here, and you can't see it right now, so you do have to lower this blade. I'm going to lower the blade down, and you'll see this other screw. That's the second to last screw. The center screw will be the last, but you do have to get this one, so you have to lower the blade to get this end screw. And this is the same process for the G12. You'd have to do that as well on the G12 Pro. This is the G17 Pro. Okay, now back up on it. Okay, and now lastly, I'll get this center screw here. And for this one, I'll hold on to this handle while I'm removing it, because it is the last screw that's holding this together. Okay, with the last screw out, you got this. And you just want to be very careful taking this out. It is completely loose now. But this is a very sharp edge on here, so be very careful. Try not to bump it up against any metal to chip the blade. So just be very careful and slow. Just drop straight down with it. And you can drop it almost on that cut pad and just slide it over. And then kind of bring the back end out at an angle, and then just kind of come out with it like that, without touching anything except for when I dropped all the way down and touched the cut pad. Now from here, it's pretty obvious. You would you'd lay this down on a desk, remove these screws, and then here's another blade. It's wrapped up right now to protect it, but there is another blade in here. You'd get your new blade, and then just attach this handle to the new blade, and then put it back in. Then the opposite way you put the other one, you'd want to come in here to angle. Again, be very careful. Don't cut yourself while it's out, but be very careful not to nick the edges on anything. And you can slowly go into this slot here with this end of the blade. As you can see, it's going in there right now. And once you get in there, you can slowly bring it down on top of that red pad and rest it there. And then from there, just kind of line it up and bring it straight up. Okay? And then you just reverse the process. Your first screw will be the last one you took out, which is the center screw. Okay? Now just lightly snug these screws as you put them in, just to get them all in. And then you can tighten them all up once you get them all in. From there you can go, just get them all started basically. You don't even have to lightly snug them, just get them all started. The only one you may want to lightly snug is the first one, the center one. Then from there just get all the others in. A couple more. Let me find the other screws. This is what the extra screws come in handy for. I know they're around here somewhere and I will find them, but I'm 2 screws short right now. I don't know if they rolled it. They probably just rolled under this cutter or something. Oh, I know where they're at. I used them to attach this thing. Sorry about that. So from there you can take one of these out now. The blade's in there pretty good. You don't have to have this handle on anymore, so you can remove this handle. There's my 2 screws. I didn't know. Didn't see how I could have lost them that easy. So anyway, the last 2, you'll get the end one in. And just make sure they go in nice and easy. I felt that one a little bit. Felt like it didn't want to go in, so I want to make sure I don't cross thread anything. Okay. Now you need to get them pretty far in for when you do this last thing, because you don't want to hit when this goes down or anything. So this will go down and hit there if it was sticking out. So move that down to expose this last screw hole, and you can put the last one in. Okay, with the last one in, you can just go ahead and start snugging them all. Fully tighten them down nice and snug. Just try not to strip the Phillips head on it to where they're difficult to take out or anything. Anyway, once you get that one, get this one nice and tight, then you can raise this back up and get the rest of them. Probably go from end to end would be best. Stop here. Now you want to just get these nice and snug, tight, but you don't want to over tighten to where you strip anything, of course. As long as the blade is in there nice and tight. I think I got them all except for the center. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and that's basically it. You got the blade in there completely. You can go ahead and put your cover back on. And that's about it. Again, this process would be identical on the G12 Pro. This is the G17 Pro I did it on. It'd actually be slightly easier on the G12 Pro because it's a shorter blade. It's going to have 1 or 2 less screws on it. But other than that, it's identical. And but this video is just to show you how to change the blade, the cut pad, and adjust the angle of the blade. And hopefully I did that and showed you how easy it was to do all 3 of them. But that's basically all the adjustments you have to do on this machine. And I hope this video has been helpful.